Okay, so we're gonna dive into a pretty gnarly DM close. And this is actually this one's a lot of fun because there's a lot of objections, and I think that it's juicy enough to where you can learn a lot and you can take this towards your DM setting, closing, networking, whatever the hell you're doing in there. So let's dive in. Right off the bat, I get a hey, I'm interested. That's a good sign. So I did a 2-step post, which is essentially like a bait post. I'm interested, let's rock. So right off the bat, I mean, there's not a lot of resistance. I know this guy. So we kind of just did some catching up. So there's not a lot of technique going on here. So I'm going to kind of just cut out all of this and just go right into like what's going on. So where's the sales conversation start to happen is about right here. So I kind of transitioned the conversation so we don't get too far off, but I'm just kind of like, what were you wanting to sell with DMs? Because the offer that I made is about DMs, obviously. So in the beginning, he goes, I want to teach people how to get more followers. He goes, I know I've heard this a million times, but to put my face on it and make videos giving value, but I really hate to be that guy. What do you think? Is it absolutely necessary to be on video? Right off the bat, he's just kind of given me the big kind of sticking point of what's going to keep him from moving forward. I basically am just like, because at the end of the day, like this isn't even really like a technique. It's just like, do I really want to work with people that are like scared to go on video? I know it's a big kind of issue for a lot of people, but I'm really not trying to like, for this case study specifically where I'm working more in depth with people, I wasn't like gonna like try to jujitsu that whole thing. I'm just like, look, you got to have a personal brand. Like this is the whole reason we're doing this. So he goes, by the way, if you need testimonials, I'll give you individual testimonials from these accounts. One more obstacle. A lot of just kind of, we just can just throw all this out. I basically am just like, look, here's the details. Let's move it forward, right? This is where the objections come up, which naturally is what happens when you drop an offer. So we'll go into it. He goes, sorry for all of the ADHD and any time that I wasted. So there's a couple of translations to this. ADHD meaning how come he hasn't been as focused in the past. He's apologizing for it. And he says in the past. And any time that I wasted. So what most people do is they would say, it's all good. I'm not going to make a mental note of that in my mind. Here's the mental note that I'm making of this entire statement is this means the only time somebody wants to feel the need to apologize for something in the past is they're probably going to do it again. So if I go and say all good and I don't realize that there's probably an objection there, instead, like what most people would do is they would probably just start to like pitch the offer more. I realize I got to pull out whatever objection that is and handle it. Okay. So anytime you have somebody who's kind of like, hey, sorry, like we've gotten on like 14 calls. Sorry. Right when you're like talking about making the sale, realize they're about to do it again. And it's not a bad thing. We just have to like realize that that's what's happening, and we got to like really pull that out, and not like move past it. So I just say all good, even though I'm having a mental note in my mind of what's going to happen. He goes, I have a friend that might be interested also. Can I ask you a couple more questions? For show. I say for show. Let's go. Obviously, Facebook groups is the most lucrative. What if I just built a personal brand on Facebook, but obviously use all my Instagram that I run and my testimonials from Instagram? I mean, I don't see why not. Basically, it's just kind of irrelevant stuff. So it's just like, look, do you want my method or do you want to do it your way? My way has produced a lot of results. Your way has not produced a lot of results. I know I can use that. It's just if he's really fighting it and like that's like the thing that I can't get him past, I'm just going to be like, look, do you want results or not? I go, you can do that. And then immediately, instead of just being like, yeah, for sure, dude, I'm just going to be like, what's the resistance towards putting yourself out there? We got to handle that because it seems like you're trying to tiptoe around something that has to happen for you to make this work. So let's pull this out and let's handle it. Right. If you're watching this and if you're the type of person that's trying to like sweep objections under the rug to hopefully it disappears, it's not going to disappear. It's just going to come out at a different time. So if somebody's objecting to something or they have resistance towards something, just call it out. Look, what's going on? What is the resistance with all this? We got to handle it. Like if somebody, you can feel they're kind of off and you're like pushing them to make that sale, just before you do it, it's called a tie down. How do you feel? How do you feel about this process? What's going on over here? You said you're like really into this, but I'm feeling like, you might be thinking about something else. What's going on? Pull it out so you can handle it. The only reason you wouldn't be pulling it out is if you didn't know how to handle it, which if you don't know how to handle it, then work with me. We'll figure it out. Okay. And it's a lot harder to do over DMs because you're not feeling somebody's energy. You're not in their presence. You just got to like be able to detect this stuff in the DMs. So kind of like what I'm showing you here is you can see how all the dots are connecting. And this is really what's going on beneath the surface. So he goes, I just hate being that guy talking about motivation and all that. Well, I don't know where you heard that you have to be motivational. Just don't do it. Right. So I just hate to be that guy, he says. Right off the bat, I'm pretty short. If you notice, this entire frame is he's just kind of like talking and I'm just like, why? What's up? It's very just like neutral. Okay. So why? I didn't even have a question mark. I don't know. It's just hard to see myself like that. All right. This is just a self-belief. Okay. I guess I could just talk about getting followers and marketing. I don't have to talk about motivation and life improvement. I do feel comfortable putting myself out there teaching grapplers how to throw, though. Cool. He's handling his own objection. So I basically just give him a positive reinforcement. If there's something there's two behaviors somebody's displaying, one, they're displaying this behavior or that behavior, it's called a positive reinforcement. They're like, dude, awesome. That's a good thing. Keep that up. What's going to happen is they're going to feel good about doing the thing or having that behavior that you want them to have, which puts them in a position to buy. So if there's a buying behavior, like a decisive person, be like, yeah, man, I just made a quick decision. I did it. Be like, dude, that's awesome. That's so cool that you are so decisive. Most people, like the unsuccessful business owners, those guys, they'll go and think about stuff forever. They'll go back and forth. They'll ask their goldfish, and nothing really happens. And so any good behavior, or if they have a good idea, like this is like more of an idea. So I'll just be like, dude, that's a solid offer, right? That actually could work. Would you be opposed to doing that instead? Why did I use this language? Would you be opposed? Well, here's the thing. At the end of this, I want him to finalize on an offer that he wants to sell. Right now, he's torn between two. I also want him to think better. Like I want him to do the things that he thinks is going to work. So I'm going to do a positive reinforcement, and then I'm going to follow up with, would you be opposed to doing that? Notice I didn't say, do you just want to do that? It's a lot easier to say nah than it is to say yes. So I want him to say no to this. And he goes, no, not at all, of course. And I got testimonials. How much do you think I could charge for an offer teaching grapplers how to throw? I go, not sure. We can work on it. All right. Probably 2,000 to 5,000. Noticing based off of his belief systems right here, he might have some limiting beliefs on this. He asked about the price of my program, and then I go, for now, yes. If you can spot what I did there, then you're a genius. It's just some urgency. Urgency is always good. I'm keeping it small while I build it out and get everyone results. This is true. This is absolutely 100% true. I don't want to work with 15 people right now because there's just a lot to take on. So I'm keeping it small while I build it out and get everyone results. This just naturally is going to add a lot of urgency. So here we go. Here comes the objection. Dylan, I know you want to make money. Really? What gave you the indicator? I know we've talked about this before. With introducing you to, this is a famous guy he introduced me to as a favor for giving him some free advice. But this was like 3 years ago. So awesome trade-off, but that transaction is done and it's in the past, right? But right now he's kind of just still trying to squeeze the juice out of it. No worries, like that's a good thing. And whatnot. And if you want me to put you in touch with him, I will again. I'm sorry to ask, but if I gave you, so notice like his language, like he's talking a lot. So it's kind of anxious. There's a lot of words. Sorry to ask. I'm really sorry. Like just see, remember how I said, I knew this was going to come up because he apologized for saying, I'm sorry for wasting your time in the past. Meaning all of this time has just passed and he thinks from his perspective, it's kind of getting wasted. Instead of him just buying it and joining, he's doing this, right? So it's going to pop up. You know how to spot this stuff. You're not going to get like these curveballs that hit you in the face. We've talked about this in the past and whatnot. And if you want me to put in touch with them again, sorry to ask, but if I gave you a few testimonials from all my different followings, so he has all these different Instagram pages, and post you on my followings, can we work something out like that in your program? So he wants to do a trade-off. Appreciate the offer and that connection. So I'm acknowledging it and I appreciate it. Right now, I'm not in need of promos or connections. Okay. The reason, and it's true, I have a lot of testimonials. I have a lot of connections right now. It's really not on like the forefront of my mind right now. Doesn't mean it won't ever be, and doesn't mean don't ask this. It's just like, I just have to say, hey, totally appreciate that. Just no. And right now I said, hey, look, the beta group is priced low, just to get people in the door. And it's only this much money. So this sometimes like this isn't the best thing to do because it kind of makes people feel bad because maybe it's low to me, but maybe not low to him. Really what it is like, what's the value? So here's immediately like what I should have done is I should have pre-framed like some value. Like, look, all we need to do is sell one of your offers and that's you paid for the program, right? And we could do that in as little as 3 weeks. Okay. So that's how it should like really have been painted. But look, I know how to handle it. So it pops up. So of course the value thing is going to pop up next. He goes, I know. And that gets me how many messages per week? This is where people are going to go into benefits and features. Do not answer this question. When somebody's asking about benefits and features, like it's a distraction. They're trying to justify the value in their mind to see if they can afford it and to see if it's worth the money. So they're saying, okay, so I get how many calls, how many people break down, like how many like message breakdowns. They're trying to like say like they're trying to add amounts of things happening. Like that's not actually what value is. Value is it's like I could give you one call, but if that makes you X amount of dollars, you've made it back. That's value, right? Don't think about it as time. So what you should do when you get stuff like this, well, now like imprint this in your mind. This is called an importance frame. Okay. It's changing his belief on what he finds important. Do you find the actual, how many breakdowns you get important, Or do you find the result important? So what's more important to you? How many specific breakdowns or ... the result? So I'm going to break this down. How many specific breakdowns? So this is like using, so this is creating tonality with text, something that I teach more in depth, but basically you're creating tonality with text. You can't talk over text. Like you can do voice notes, but it's weird. I don't like the voice notes. So like how many specific breakdowns or ... pause the result. So that's how it reads in his mind. Okay. The result, of course. Well, no shit. Cool. So if you notice, this question is also a really like easy question to answer. Like anybody who's logical is going to answer that in this way. Okay. So all you're trying to do in these message sequences is try to ask questions that are like logical and that lead them to a conclusion of like, the only thing is for me to buy. I know you were completely legit. So now he's basically like, he's justifying, which is good. I actually like your stuff better than a lot of people. I'm just wondering what exactly that includes. Private Facebook group, etc. For sure. And I'm just gonna be like, it's okay. Totally cool. Right now it's being built as we go. So I'm just being honest. Okay. On like just total honesty can work really, really well. And because it makes you an ethical, normal human being. And you should just be honest. It's a good thing. Right now it's being built as we go. So I'm pouring my all into the group. So this is good. So this is a great statement to actually break down. This is kind of like in copywriting, it's called like a damaging admission. So meaning like, look, I need this. Here's my reason why I need this. I need to build this as I go to figure out what needs to happen. So because of that, though, I'm pouring my all into the group. Okay. Meaning like I'm giving you everything that I got to get you to a result. Okay. I'm pouring my all into this. Yeah, because I have to. I'm very incentivized. So then I go, then as it gets built, you'll have access to everything without the price that it will come with in the future. Boom, benefit to you. What that'll include is price and value of the offer, set up messaging strategy, drive outbound traffic to a group, build the brand, set and close calls, track everything. Okay, very simple, but it's what he needs. And then you bring the messages to the groups and the calls daily and weekly for breakdowns and exactly what you need, So I just repitch the offer in a way that like is what he wants, which is also true. And then he goes, okay, cool. How much do you think I could sell an offer teaching people how to get more followers? So now he's going back to this thing. So maybe I'm just like, dude, just stop. Like I'd recommend this offer. So now I just go like coaching frame. Okay. Usually I don't like say coach people in the middle of the sales process, but he's just like, his certainty's not like, his certainty on me is obviously higher based off of his language. His certainty in me is higher than it is in himself. So this, sometimes you can kind of just take the reins and just be like, look, dude, let's go. Just get him over the edge. Sometimes though, like most of the time you just got to be skeptical of them and have them try to sell their way into it. But for this guy, like he knows me, he likes me, he trusts me. He's given me plenty of indicators that this is where he's at. So I just go into it. I just tell him like, look, here's what it's at. And here's why. So I don't know why this is doing this. Stop. Okay. So here's why. It's niche. It's more valuable, and the follower game is saturated. And I'm like, dude, he's like, yeah, you're right. I'm like, dude, you've been doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu forever. And I would teach with a lot of BJJ guys, don't know how to do it, and that's throw people. It's time to stop talking about it and grow this bitch. So I'm just like, look, it's time, dude. Now I just go into hard close for him. He goes, yes, you're right. You down? So this is kind of like a soft close, just kind of like, Are you down, man? I would like to sell one program first and then pay you with that. Even just sell one and pay you outright the 2,500 or whatever. I don't know. I meant to get rid of this, but whatever. It's not 2,500, but okay. Do you think you would sell? So right now his belief in his mind, all this is just belief shifting. Right now his belief in his mind is like, I can sell one by myself. So it's a done, DIY objection. And once I do that, I'll have the money to put into this, which doesn't make any sense. So I got to show him that. So what I can do is there's a couple of options that I have in my arsenal. Is like, I can go with is time and speed and efficiency, which is what I'm going to go with here. Or I could go into I can go into doubt and induce doubt. I can be like, have you ever done it before? What's the most you've sold it for? Do you know how to structure an offer? And I can just chunk down and I can ask when and how and what's your exact plan specifically. Chunking down is going to take more time and people can kind of get objection exhausted. And there's just not enough emotional pain in this specifically to do that. Okay. There's so much more to this, but this is just the surface level. So I could go with the long route, which I need more an emotional, this one, I have more leadership. So I chose to go just the logic trap, of just looking at it logically. So I go, do you think you would sell one faster or slower with my help? You know the answer, ? LOL. So he's basically doesn't want to answer that. Okay. Well, because he knows if he answers that, then he's going to look dumb. Okay. And so if I say, yeah, exactly, you're going to go faster, then that's my idea, not his. So I have to get him to answer that. So then I go, what is the answer? What is it? I don't know. Maybe it'll go slower. I don't know. Faster with your help. LOL. And do you want to go faster or slower? Of course, faster. So notice the question. I only give him two options. Do you want to go faster or slower? And I go, do you want to go slow, fast, medium pace? Do you want this? I don't give him any. I just give him two options. There's only two options. You can go fast or you can go slow. Do you want to go fast or slow? Slow. And now if I was really skeptical of him, I'd be like, well, why? Just have him say, well, here's why. Because I have rent coming up, or I have this thing coming up and I need to make money now. Got it. Right. So you can have them justify, but he's just in my frame. I don't need to belabor it. So I just make a joke out of it. So if working with me is faster and you want speed, then why in the holy crap would you go the slow way? So notice I'm not being a dick about it. I add in some humor. So why in the holy crap? Nobody says that. And it's funny. Why in the holy crap would you go the slow way? He goes, yeah, haha, yeah, I hear you. When somebody says, yeah, I hear you, well, he's not answering it again. It's not an answer. All right. So if I started with you for nothing, my first offer 25 example is straight for you for the year without an option. So I go start for this, the payment. Then when you make the sale, you can pay it off. Then how much is it outright? It's this, it saves you this much money. And I'll let you discount it if you pay it off in 30 days. Sorry to even go back and forth. So now he's apologizing about us not that you care. I'm trying to, and I know it's just an excuse, but I've had an insane amount of fucking problems for the past couple of years. I know you're great at what you do. I don't know what that means. I just have one more question. So he follows up with me after 20 minutes. I go, shoot. Okay, don't shoot me for asking this, but could I split it with somebody? He says, can I split it with somebody? This is where it starts to get juicy. Would that be okay? I go, is this a partner? No, it's a guy starting his own program. I said, dude, I don't need testimonials. It would be X amount for each person. You'll make it back in your first month. What I need is people who are committed, not indecisive. So now I go into like heavy artillery. Heavy artillery for me is like, what is your identity? This is an identity frame. I need people who are committed, not indecisive. A committed person is who I need. I gotta reject you if you're not. And it's okay if you're not. Just don't do this to me. Right. And then he goes, he's not indecisive. He's trying to craft an offer right now. I go, I'm talking about you. And then I go, let's make a decision. It's like most people, they go into their like stupid like ramble, and then they try to like handle like their smoke screen, and then they're running away over here. You got to just be like, no, make a decision, dog. Right. Like he goes, I understand. That's not an answer. You know, this stuff works. What is your concern? So I just keep pulling out objections. What is going on? You're right. I'm walking in judo now. I'll hit you up after. I go, beast. Let's crush it, dude. So now just positive reinforce. This is a close. Good move. Right. I just say you're closed. Like I just told him he's closed. You can pay the bottom of this. Okay, cool. Then I follow up with him. What's the word? He goes, okay, let's do it. Then he sends me some jujitsu stuff. Awesome. And it's paid. Boom. Done. All right. So, easy stuff. Also, I mean, look, like everybody's different. Like you're going to have like warm followers. This is going to work well. Like the better you are, like, look, the better you are at, like, you got to do this stuff a little bit more. Like you got to get some repetitions in. But sometimes like, it's just, you just can just make the sale. You don't need to get on a call. You don't need to have these discovery processes. Like sometimes you can just do it. Like you can just make the sale. And it's done. All right. So yeah. So in terms of like how this worked, again, like there was some things I could have done a little bit better. To be honest, I was a little lazy about it, but I mean, it's so second nature to me at this point where I can just kind of do that. So just take like those this or that questions you can use, know when you can ask them, know when they're giving you the leadership by like listening to what they're saying. Like, don't shoot me for asking this. I'm sorry. Like if they're like really trying to respect your time, you've got the level of authority where you can really lead. Sometimes you got to go a little bit inferior and you got to like kind of let them lead a little bit and then start to grab the frame. But there's a lot to this and it's very dynamic, which is why I teach it the way I teach it. And the reason why it has to be like, you have to have somebody looking over it and really like looking at it like a zoomed out perspective over a chessboard, right? Which is where this chess analogy comes from. It's kind of what's needed, which is why I do it the way I do it. So if you are interested in that, I will be taking on some people to like really like dig into these DMs. And I think if you can handle this, you can figure out this skill. I mean, one, your communication skills go through the roof. Two, you start to learn like how people behave online, which is where everything is right now. Like people are just living online. People like it, they're probably 80-90% identified with the online environment. And that's where communication is going. And so if you can figure this out, you could connect with anybody in the world. You can lead anyone anywhere. You're pretty much unlimited. So this is why I care about this subject. And I think it could be really good for you. So hit me up if you need some help, and I will see you on the next video /training. Peace.